right, welcome back to the first week of Coffee Cafe. This is where we last left off, right? We just finished purchasing our computer and our printer, right? We learned that because it's a fixed asset, we have to include that the sales tax is going to be included in the cost of the asset itself. So in this case, we learned how to split the cost or split the tax for this one, okay? So now that we've done that, we said we're going to continue here. So, right, it is still June 5th, and we decided to pay for some liability insurance for a 12-month policy starting on June 5th of 2020. And, of course, for the total amount of $2,350, issue check paid to Sergeant Insurance, okay, company policy number 884513. So, how do I do this one? In this case, what did I buy?
Insurance.
You bought some insurance. So let's take a look at my chart of accounts. In this case, if we're going to be incurring insurance for the month of June, right? Because it starts on June 5th, right? It's going to be an expense. So do we actually have anything in remote to an insurance expense?
Yep, 60400.
Yes, we do. Now, in this case, we also prepaid, right? 11 months in advance for insurance, because usually insurance policies, you could either do it on a month-to-month basis or you can buy one for the whole year. In this case, I bought one for the whole year. So what do I do with those 11 months that I paid ahead of time? What do I call that?
When the prepaid accounts like the other one with the rent did?
Correct. Because I prepaid, right, rent, or in this case, I prepaid for insurance, right? So in this case, okay, good. Now, last thing here is, how did I pay? Checking. Good. So therefore, there's my checking account. Hold on, let me see what was insurance again. Insurance expense was $6,400. Okay. All right. So, in this case, all right, today is June 5th, right? We incurred insurance expense for the month of June. So therefore, I need to go ahead and insert that right there. Okay. And I also paid for 11 months ahead, right? Which is a prepaid account, which is considered an intangible asset because I paid for insurance. Can you physically touch insurance even though you own it?
No.
No. So in this case, 18,600. And then last but not least, I paid using my checking account because I wrote a check. So that's going to decrease my account here. Now, how much was the total amount that I wrote? How much did I pay for this whole year insurance?
2,350.
Okay. 2,350. Okay. Now, in this case, right, I acknowledge that I paid 2,350. Now, how can I figure out how much is it going to cost me per month for the insurance?
You divide it by 12.
You divide it by 12. So in this case, I'm going to do equal round here. So then I get a nice round number here. Okay. So equal round. Okay, we're going to take the 2,350 and divide it by 12. And so what's my monthly insurance?
$195.83.
$195.83. Okay, so that means how much is it going to cost me for the rest of the remainder of 11 months?
Oh,
I can just simply take this and subtract 1 month, right? So how much is it going to cost me for the 11 months?
$2,154.17.
Excellent. So there you go, insurance expense, okay? Or the prepaid insurance for the 11 months, right? Because I have to count for this month's expenses. So in this case, when we understand expenses, it's usually for the current month, okay? All right, so now that I finish everything here, what else do I need to do? I need to cut a check.
Write a check and put them in the ledger. So,
Well, I haven't
go to
finished.
the
I haven't.
register.
We're gonna go to the check register, okay? Because do I know what check number I wrote?
Not till you put it in the check register.
Exactly. So in this case, today is June 5th. We paid $2,350 to
Sergeant Insurance Company.
what is this for?
1 year's liability insurance.
Yeah, liability insurance. Okay. Liability insurance. So in this case, I use check number 1503. So now I need to complete my journal by putting in my description. So who did we deal with?
Sergeant Insurance Company.
I'm gonna put co. What was the proof of the transaction?
Well, you've got the policy number.
Policy number. What was it? 884513. And proof that I made a payment.
Check 1503.
All right. Oh, then if you want to put 12 months insurance, you can do that too. 12 months or 1 year, whatever you want to say. 12-month liability insurance plan. Okay. Oh, misspelled liability. Okay, good. So now we are completely done with the journal. We wrote our check. So what comes next? Now we can officially post it to our ledger. Okay? So in this case, we have a insurance expense.
There you go.
So insurance expense, you could say liability insurance for June. Right, we're still on our first general journal page here. How much did it cost me? $195.83. Oh, sorry, $195. Oh yeah, $195.83. Okay. We need to now go to our prepaid account, so it's an asset. right here, prepaid accounts, right? And you can say 11 months of insurance ad paid in advance. Okay. And then, of course, you could say it's going to cost me $195.83 per month. Okay. Still on our journal page 1. And how much was that total?
2154.17.
2154.17. So, excuse me. So now I need to add this because I've increased my prepaid accounts account. Okay? So in this case, formula for this is going to be previous balance plus any debits, which is that $2,154.17, minus that empty credit, right? So then we don't have to go back and forth and adding those numbers or subtracting those numbers. It will automatically do it for me. Right? So now I'm at 665417, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy and paste this formula all the way down. Okay. There's my running balance. Okay. Last thing I have here on my list is a check that I've written. So I need to go up to my checking account and verify that I have issued check number 1503. Still on General Journal page 1, but we wrote a check, so we're going to decrease our money by $2,350, right? So how much should that leave me in my bank account? If I started with 13,911.29 and I just paid a $2,350 check,
$11,561.29.
excellent, 11,561.29. Good. All right. I'll drag these formulas down. There we go. So then now, right, now that I finished my journal and I finished my ledger, right, I dealt with someone who provides me service. I have a policy number, right, and I wrote a check out to them. So I need to record this in my subsidiary ledger, okay, for future purposes in case something happens to my insurance plan. I don't like my insurance plans. I want to get out of the contract that I signed with them. Here's your proof right here, right? And maybe you might get your money out from this policy. Okay. So in this case, they are a vendor, and it's going to be in alphabetical order. So Sergeant's going to be towards the bottom of this. RS, here's Sergeant Insurance Company. Today is the 5th. And what do you want to put here? You could say purchased 12-month liability insurance. Plan for $195.83 per month. Okay. And you have proof that you paid by using check 1503. All right, what was the invoice number in this case? The same thing as your policy number. I believe it was
884513.
884513. Post reference, once again, this was on journal number 1. Now, an insurance plan, right? Because I paid at time when I got the contract, right? I'm not making monthly payments. So in this case, my terms, there are no terms because I already paid all 12 months in advance. So I shouldn't be receiving any bill except for them to verify that the month has been paid off. All right. So I could skip the terms. So no discount due date, no actual due date. I didn't talk to them prior and pay them in advance. So in this case, no prepaid. How much was my invoice amount for? $2,350. Okay. And of course, last question here is, did I make a return? No. Did I get a discount? No. Did I pay? Yes, you did. I paid the check to 1503 for $2,350. So, what's the amount that I owe to Sergeant Insurance? Once again, formula is going to be the invoice amount minus your prepaid, minus your returns, minus your discounts, minus any payments. So right now, of course, I don't owe Sergeant Insurance anything. In fact, they owe me because I gave them 12 months in advance payment. Okay? So in this case, there you go. All right. Now, what happens when we actually do have those things where we do make a prepayment, where we do, we do have to a bill that we owe, and how do we make payments? I will show you how to do that as we get further and further into the scenario. Okay. So for now, this is just the very beginning, and so far what we've seen now is we're paying everything that we purchase. Okay. So everything looks good, right? We did the journal, we did a ledger, we did the substituted ledger, we did the check register. So I can officially say we are done with this transaction.
For some reason, when I type anything in Excel, it just shows up as the whatchamacallit, the hashtag, a
If it
bunch of hashtags instead of the number.
if that means the window is too small, so you need to expand your cells.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Drag the column wider.
so if it's hashtags here, right? You just click on the row, and then you put your mouse right in between where that line is, and you just click, hold, and drag, and it will expand the window for you.
Oh, okay, thank you.
And if a shortcut to that too is you could just double click on it, and it will adjust it exactly to display it. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So now that we've finished the insurance, let's see what happened next. So it's now officially June 6th, so it's the next day. We end up applying for a business credit card from National Bank. All right. Do we need to record this transaction?
Nope, all we did was apply.
All we did was apply. We don't know how much we got approved. We don't know what our interest rate is because it's a credit card. And we don't know when. Actually, usually when you apply for credit cards like this, if you're doing it online, you'll get the instant notification of whether you got approved or not. But if you're doing this via paper or going to the actual bank, they actually don't give you the results, and they actually mail you a letter to say whether you got approved or not. And if they do, then they usually send you the card on it if you got approved. If not, they just send you a sorry letter, right? So therefore, there you go. All we did was apply. We don't know the amount that we got approved for, and so on and so forth. So then, let's see what happened next. So next, on the June 6th, right? Maine Bank of Nevada approves your line of credit of $10,000. Okay? And it's only to be applied for an overdraft protection and for personal loans to be taken out of increments of $1,000 each. Okay? And of course, terms are your interest rate is going to be 22% applied to unpaid balances amount, okay, and it's compounded daily. Okay, so in this case, we got approved for a line of credit, $10,000. So what should we record this transaction? Yes or no?
No, because we really haven't used it.
Correct. We got approved of the line of credit, but there is a condition. It's only to be used if you overdraft your bank account. Okay, so that means if you paid for something and you overdraft your bank, so NSF, right? The bank will pay for it for you. They'll push it for you for up to $10,000. Second thing is, they allow you to take this line of credit for you to take personal loans out. Okay, so in case you need that money to I don't know, to get it to buy something that's really expensive, well, you have up to $10,000, right? Now, this is just a line of credit to let you know that we got approved of something, but the condition, we haven't even done anything yet, right? Our bank account has plenty of money, and we don't need to take any personal loans as of today. So in this case, no need to record this transaction. However, what should we do with all this information that we have right here?
Write it somewhere.
And that somewhere is?
Don't you put it in your assets somehow so that you know you've got it? Kind of like you do a truck when you get it.
Well, in this case, right?
You know, that sort
Okay.
I don't know where you'd put it, but I know you need to put it there somewhere.
Okay, but in this case, right? Did we take the $10,000?
No.
If we didn't take that money, then we don't need to record that in our books because we're not. There's no transaction, right? We didn't take the money. They just say you have this is your available balance.
How about potential vendor?
Potential vendor. Do we have a list for potential vendors?
Not lender. Vendor. As B as Victor.
Vendor.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. What do we call that? What do we call the list that holds our customers, vendors, and our employees?
That's your subsidiary.
That's your subsidiary ledger. Yes. Okay. So, yes, excellent. Because I'm not going to teach you how to do actual financial reporting. I'm not going to require you to do that whole entire thing. So, where do I put this extra information? You can definitely put it in your subsidiary ledger, right? In this case, it's not a transaction, but it's good information to know because if and when I do actually overdraft my bank, right, I will know I'm going to get charged 22% interest and it's going to be based on every single day. So that means that's a lot, right? Well, 22% is an APR rate, but you understand what I mean, right? That's still a lot of money, right? Because if we overdraft over, let's say, for example, we overdraft $2,000, that's gonna rack up some change, right?
Yeah.
So in this,
compound is huge.
Yes, 22%, and this is normal. 22% is normal for a typical loan or a credit card. Okay, but in this case, because this is the bank, right? Especially the bank is if you go anywhere, right? You accidentally withdraw something, they automatically charge you like $35, right? And if every day that you don't put money in there, they charge you additional 35 on top of another 35 and on top of another 35. So bank institutes are very, very pricey. Okay? You definitely don't want to overdraft at all. But in this case, this is a protection plan because we are a business, right? And we got approved. Okay? So yes, so we can go ahead and put this information in our subsidy ledger. Doesn't belong as a journal transaction, but it's definitely information we could use for the future in case we do decide to take a personal loan, or if we do decide to overdraft, right? Not on purpose, but if we decide to overdraft, at least we know we have a credit line of $10,000, and we know that any balances under that's not paid, we're going to be subject to 22% interest per day. Okay? So let's go ahead and enter that information into our subsidiary ledger. So in this case, let's locate my main Bank of Nevada. Here you go, main Bank of Nevada. You can put the date so you know when you got approved, but everything else here, you only are going to put this in the notes because, again, you won't know this until the bank gives you your bank statement, right? So in this case, you could just keep this as your notes, all right? But there's no actual transaction you need to record because we haven't even received my first bank statement yet. But it's still good information to know. So you can include approved of line of credit of $10,000. Okay, for overdraft protection and personal loan. And then you can also say 22% interest.
Now, curious, is the 22% APR and then it's compounded daily?
Yes.
Is that how it's read?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So in this case, we're not going to get 22%. It's going to be whatever 22% divided by 365 days.
Right.
And then that's how much I'm going to get charged interest per day, right? Okay,
I
so
just figured I'd make sure.
no worries. So 22% APR interest. We already know it's going to be on unpaid balances, and you could do compound daily if you wanted to. It doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, you're not the one that's going to be calculating this. The bank is going to calculate, and then they're going to give this statement to you. So as long as you understand that you are going to be charged 22% interest. If you want to clarify, you could put APR. Okay? And, right, that's it. Okay? That's good enough information. All right. So, let's see what happened next. Okay. So then, purchase order 17303 to furniture store. And we decided to buy a desk set with a unit cost of $562. Okay, so total cost $562. Okay. So this is a purchase order. What do I do with the purchase order?
We have a tab that says PO.
Yes, but do we actually record a purchase order in our journal?
No, it does not affect our books.
Correct, because all you're simply doing is requesting, right? You're ordering, right? You have 2 transactions you haven't done yet, right? You haven't received the item. That's number 1. Number 2, you haven't even got issued the bill, right?
Right.
So, or you didn't pay, either or, right? So in this case, this is a simple purchase order. However, we should, as a business, keep track of everything that you order, right? Because if you don't, let's say you order, and then at one point given in time, you get a whole bunch of items and you're not even sure which one is what you ordered. You don't even know which one you missed, right? So purchase orders are a powerful thing because they actually let you keep track of what you buy. Because again, if you're using a vendor constantly, or a supplier, right, that you purchase from, right, and you're constantly buying left and right every single day, right, they might be shipping you a bunch of things and they're going to be sending you bills left and right, right. Your job is to make sure that whatever the vendor told you it was going to be, you need to verify and confirm that this is the correct amount. Because again, if you're buying them from left and right, they might be sending you other things and charging you left and right too. And if you're not doing a very good job keeping track of your purchase orders and what you bought and how much it should cost, then you know, it's a very poor way of doing business, because then you're paying for things, you're overpaying for things that you shouldn't be paying for. So in this case, that's what we're going to do. We're going to be using purchase orders to keep track of every single item that we purchase. Now, we're purchasing from a furniture store. So what is a desk to us?
Asset,
It's an, okay, what kind of asset?
a fixed asset.
It's a fixed asset. So keep this in mind. Purchase orders are not just strictly meant for inventory, okay? In QuickBooks, it's the same exact way. We recommend you to use QuickBooks purchase orders for inventory, but yes, you can actually create purchase orders for just expenses. You not always items. So keep that in mind, right? But in this case, I want to keep track of everything that I buy, because we're a small business, right? We need to manage our money very, very carefully. We can't just buy everything that we want and not be very careful about our money, right? So in this case, we're going to purchase everything, whether it's furniture or whether it's a fixed asset, whether it's a current asset, inventory, whatever it is, we're going to keep a track record of everything that we buy. So in this case, let's go ahead and visit that purchase order. So we're going to go to our general journal, right? Because if you go ahead and scroll down, you got your check register, your deposits, and boom, your purchase orders. So right here, today is the 6th. Today is the 6th. No, today's the 5th. Today's the 6th.
6. Yeah, we're on the 6 now.
Yep. Okay, so 6th of June. Okay. Purchase order 17301, right? So you have the code already put in, right? The purchase orders is going to be your number, right? But when they send you a bill, that's their number, okay? So my purchase orders, this is my purchase order number 1, all right? 301. All right, who did I purchase from?
Furniture store.
Furniture store. Okay. What are the items that I purchased? In this case, I bought a desk set. Oh, wait, a desk set. What was the quantity? 1. How much does it cost? Right now it says $562. Right? So that means in grand total, right? I'm going to multiply across. That means my grand total is going to be that $562. Huh? So that means that's it for my purchase orders, right? Because I have 2 more columns. When I receive my items, I need to verify that I confirmed that I received the items, right? And I also need to know what was the billing number on that. Okay? So therefore, I am done with my purchase orders until I receive my items. All right. So let's see what's next. Ooh, another purchase order. So in this case, we ordered something and then realized, oh, wait, we need to order more from furniture store. So we send out another purchase order, 17 0302, right, to furniture store. And we decided to buy a counter and 5 display shelves. Okay, per unit is going to be $102. Yes.
So we don't add it to the subsidiary ledger until they have actually, we bought it. So
You
we don't put them as a vendor in there until it's actually received and we've gotten a bill.
in this case, yes and no. I don't prefer to do it because what if this person doesn't respond back to you? Why waste space for this person?
Okay.
Right? But another thing too is yes, once they get in contact with you and they become an official vendor for you or a supplier, whatever it is that you're purchasing them from, general rule of thumb is yes, you can put a purchase order in there, but again, if a purchase order doesn't affect any transaction, right? It doesn't affect your journal. It doesn't affect your ledger, right? It in this case, it shouldn't affect your subsidiary ledger either. Until
You don't add it until it affects one of the entry places.
correct, right? Until we receive a bill from them, yes, it will affect us. But in this case, it's just a simple purchase order.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure.
If you want to do it, it's optional to you. But again, it's gonna kind of be awkward when you have a zero balance in there, right? And there's no transaction being made. Okay. So yeah, it's optional. If you want to put it in there, you can. But in this case, I'm not going to. Right? Not until I receive that bill, knowing exactly everything that I bought and whether I paid it or not. So in this case, here's a. Was there another question?
No.
Okay. All right. So, well, since we're already on our purchase orders, let's go ahead and fill in my second purchase order. Okay. So we are still on the 6th of June here. And who do we purchase from? You can just copy and paste here. Furniture store. Right? But this time I bought a counter. And I bought display shelves. Okay. Quantity only 1 counter, but I got 5 display shelves. Now the price point for the counter is $1,033, while the cost per item for the display shelves is $102. Okay?
You forgot 0 and 1,033.
Yeah, thank you. 33. So then, right, what are you going to do? I'm going to multiply across to get me my total cost here. So in this case, that's going to give me 1,300, while 5 times $102 is going to give me a total of $510. Okay. And then I'm going to so this is what I usually do. I just go ahead and do an equal sum. It's usually much easier, but if I only have one item, I just copy the cell down. So in this case, I'm going to do an equal sum, and that's going to give me a grand total of $1,543. Right? Does that match your PO? Yes, it does. Okay. All right. Okay. Right? So the next one says that electricity has been connected. $100 deposit is required, okay? Payable to NV Utilities, invoice number 502. All right? So in this case, I'm going to say, let's write another check. Okay? So, electricity is connected and $100 deposit is required. Pay to NV Utilities. Invoice number 502. So, what do I do with this? How do I record this transaction?
Or general journal first.
Okay. Well, first off, what did I buy?
It's your deposit.
We bought a
For your
deposit, right, for electricity. So in this case, it's an again a deposit for electricity or any kind of utilities deposit. Usually, you're supposed to get your money back. So in this case, this isn't. So that what do we call this? It's a deposit, right? So it's going to be an intangible asset. Now we've seen what a deposit is, right? We've done rent deposit, so we already know that account exists. All right, and we're obviously making a payment from our checking account. So in this case, right, let's identify what that deposit number is one more time. Okay, so in this case, deposits is going to be 18,700. Okay, and we are on the 6th. Okay, so how do I journalize my transaction?
The debit deposits of 18,700 for $100 and credit checking for the check that we write.
Okay,
Then you go to the check register and write the check.
okay, so we're getting check number 1504 for $100. Payable to who?
Nevada utilities. No,
Yep, that's
I
correct.
can't see the whole thing.
That's correct. Nevada, yeah, NV Utilities. And what was this for?
Deposit for electricity.
Right? You need to have this deposit in order to turn on the electricity at the location. Okay. So now we have all the information we need, right? We made a payment to NV Utilities. Proof that a transaction occurred was, what was my invoice number?
502.
Right? And you can also write electricity deposit because in this case, it just says deposit on there. You don't know what it's for, so electricity deposit. Right?
And check 1504.
Good. So now I'm completely done with my journal here. Right? So, journal's done. What's next?
Ledgers.
I gotta fill in my your general ledger. So in this case, let's see. We got some deposits here under assets. Okay, here we are, deposits. An electricity deposit. Okay, still.
Bottom of General Journal 1.
Yep, we're still on General Journal 1, yes. For $100. So, again, formula is going to be previous balance plus any debit. So in this case, I got 100 minus any credits, which is my blank credit here. So that's going to give me $1,600. Okay. All right. And then, of course, we got to do the checking. So in this case, 66 I wrote check number 1504. One still for $100. So that should give you 11,461.29, right? Because you just decreased by $100. Okay. Good. Now we dealt with NV utilities, right? What if the electricity shuts off randomly, right? In the middle of your month, in the middle of the month, you can go ahead and verify with NV utilities saying, "Hey, I paid for electricity. Why did you shut it off?" Or for whatever reasons, if it's still not on and you're still trying to work your business or trying to still open up your business and your electricity's not on, you need to call them and say, "Hey, I paid you, right? Here's your invoice, contract number. Here is the check that I wrote you." Okay? So in this case, it's just to, again, verify that you have proof the transaction. So you're going to record this. So right here, it should be NV utility, should be right underneath. Okay, so 6. Okay. And then your note's going to be electricity deposit. Okay, and of course you wrote check number 1504. Invoice.
It was 502, I think.
Let's verify. Invoice number 502. Right? In this case, post reference still page 1. Is there terms? No. You're dealing with utilities. No. Right? They won't give you your statement of how much electricity you use until after the month is over, right? So you won't receive a bill from NV Utilities until July, okay? To measure how much electricity you used for the month of June. So in this case, you don't have any terms yet because you haven't received a bill yet. This was just to verify that you want to turn the power on, right? No prepaid, but how much did it cost you? It cost you $100 for the deposit. And did you pay? Yes, you did. Okay. So once again, formula is going to be invoice amount minus prepaid minus returns minus discounts minus payments. So right now, I currently owe NV Utilities nothing. Okay. So let's see what happened next. Okay. Here says telephone services is connected. Okay. Installation fees are to be included with the first month's bill. So what do I do with this transaction here?
There's no entry because we don't have an amount or anything else to enter.
Correct, because in this case, they tell us right here saying installation fees are to be included with the first month's bill. So already it tells me right here that the telephone services has been connected. But because we don't pay until the following month, because all we did was just get the telephone services connected, right? We bought a plan, it maybe came with internet and so on and so forth, right? They won't charge you until the following billing cycle. So in this case, I know I have telephone expenses, right? I can use the phone line, but for right now, they won't charge me until the following month when I actually use the telephone, right? So in this case, I can go ahead and skip forward because there's no transaction that is there, right? So still on June 6th here, all right? natural gas is connected. Right? So once again, another $100 deposit is required, and it's payable to NV Utilities once again. Right? But this time, it's invoice number 552, and this is for the turning on the natural gas, or turning on gas, right? So I need to make another deposit here for gas. So,
Just copy and paste.
excellent, right? Copy and paste and just change the information that you need to change, right? So in this case, I'm going to be cutting another check to NV Utilities, right? Right there, we have perfect amount of space before the next page, okay?
How did you manage that, Lynn?
This again, we've been doing this for quite some time now. It's not my first rodeo show, so in this case, yes, it was already meditated. So in this case, there you go. Invoice number 552 this time, and this is not electricity. This is for gas. A gas deposit, and then of course we're going to be issuing another check. In this case, we already know it's going to be $15.05, okay, for the same exact amount. All right, so let's go ahead and cut that check. It's still the 6th. We're making another $100 deposit to NV Utilities, but this time this is to turn on natural gas. Okay. So, my journal, all I did was just edit the information that's on there. Now, the tricky thing about Excel is if you click on the cell and you start typing something in, it will erase everything, right? So what you have to do is you have to double click on it. Okay? You have to double click on it and then put your cursor wherever you need it to be. Or you can just click on that cell and go up to the formula up here and edit your information there. Okay, so make sure you know that, because sometimes it gets frustrating when you type something in there and the whole thing is gone. Okay, so in this case, all I am doing here is I'm just editing the small bits and pieces of information, because it's going to be the same, right? We got NV Utilities. The only difference is I have a different invoice number and I wrote a different check number, and it's not an electricity bill, right? It's a gas deposit, right? So again, that's the beauty of utilizing Excel, is you can copy and paste, but again, if it's a minor information, you could just edit the information, right? Instead of having to type everything out, it can save you extra time by you going and just editing the information accordingly. Okay? So there you go. I have it in my journal, so I need to definitely post it to my ledger. In this case, I'll let you go ahead and do this where I'm already on my checking account. Go do your checking account and then go do your deposits, because this one, it's straightforward in regards to keeping track of, right? So I'll let you do that for this one, because I'm already on my checking account. Really no purpose for you to have to scroll all the way down just to scroll all the way back up for this occasion. Okay, since I'm already here on my journal, on my checking account, I'm just going to go ahead and take off that $100. And now I dropped from $11,461 to $11,361 because I made another $100 check that I wrote. Okay, so again, now that I've got my checking updated, I can scroll all the way down to my deposits. Okay, so here are my deposits, right? This time, instead of electricity deposit, I'm going to go ahead and say natural gas deposit. Okay. journal. Still on the very edge of page 1, we added another $100. So if you want to click and drag your formula down, I went from $1,600 to $1,700 worth of deposits. Okay. All right. And of course, now that we finished my journal and my ledger, right, I need to update my subsidiary ledger because now I have to hold NV Utilities responsible to turn on my gas. Okay. So, gas deposit, check number 1505. Okay, but this time, invoice number 552. And once again, you're just going to go through the same situation, right? You got another $100, and yes, you made another $100 payment. So therefore, right, if you have the first one in here, you also have the ability to click and drag that formula all the way down. So in this case, again, I do not owe NV Utilities for any amount because I made a payment, right? I paid for the deposit. Now all I have to do is wait for my bill to arrive to make my next payment for my utilities. All right, so I'm looking at gas, electricity, and gas and electricity, and then you'll get water too. All right. Okay, let's see what is next. So we'll do this last one right here, okay, and then we will go ahead and take a break. So now that I finished my gas deposit, let's see what happened here. So we decided to go ahead and order a purchase order number 303 to Haley Bros. And here we wanted to buy a commercial coffee brewer and a commercial coffee grinder, right? Those are the price points right there. Now, because they said, hey, we want a third down payment, okay? A third down payment for you to make sure that when we send these items out to you, that you actually are not going to return it, right? Or nothing's going to happen, right? We're going to require you to have a down payment, a third of the price. Okay, right? So that means we've already calculated to be $1140.22. Right? So because we have to make a down payment on these coffee brewers and coffee grinders, we're gonna have to send a check to Haley Bros for that $1140.22, which is the third down payment. Right? So, first things first, let's record my purchase order first to acknowledge that we know that we're ordering these items and that a down payment will be applied, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at my purchase orders. Okay, so my purchase orders, right, number 303. It is the 6th of June still. Who are we requesting merchandise or I guess items from? Haley Bros. Okay. What did we buy? We bought coffee brewer and we bought a coffee grinder. Quantities, we bought one of each. How much did each one cost? Let me see. The coffee brewer cost me $2,266, while my coffee grinder only cost me $1,249.95. Okay. So let's figure out what those total costs are. Okay. So my total cost is going to be is $3,515.95. Right? We could verify that when we receive the items that this is how much my bill should be, right? And then the bill should also record your down payment. Now, we don't put the down payment here, okay? Why? Because we're looking at buying and looking at the total price point. And then from the bill should tell me that I received the discount or if the down payment was been applied and so on and so forth, right? You don't put it on the purchase order. This is what we need to check for is this is the total cost, right? We need to verify that the billing statement does include this number right here. Okay? For $3,515.95. Okay, so now we have my purchase order. Okay, so this is purchase order number 17303, right? So then now, right, we're gonna go ahead and make a down payment. Now, in this case, what would constitute as a down payment? How am I going to journalize that I'm making a down payment? So chart of accounts. What would represent a down payment?
Deposit?
So remember, deposits, right? If we make a deposit, the essential rule of thumb is that money should eventually come back to us.
Oh, okay.
Is that what we want?
No,
No.
because it's a part of the payment for the equipment.
Correct. It will be applied to the future bill, invoice, whatever it is called, right?
Well, it would be prepaid accounts, wouldn't it? Because it will be applied onto the next bill or the bill that's received.
Correct. Because in this case, right, I'm buying a part of the machine ahead of time, right? Before actually receiving everything. So then it's the same idea where I paid rent in advance, right? This time I'm making a payment in advance to purchase these items. So correct, it would be considered a prepaid account. And of course, are you going to be sending, what are you going to be doing? How are you going to pay $1,140.22?
You'll send a check with the purchase order.
Correct. You will send a check with the purchase order. All right. So we will be using our checking account. So now that we are officially done with journal page 1, we can now move on to journal page 2. Yay. Okay. So today's the 6th, right? We established that the down payment is going to be a prepaid account. Okay, 18,700. Okay, actually, I think it's 18,600. 18,600. Okay, and then we're writing a check. Okay. For what amount?
1140.22.
1140.22. Okay. So we pretty much need to what's the next step? We need to write a check, don't we?
Check register.
Yes, because we need to know what check number that we wrote. So in this case, today's still the 6th. We wrote 1140.22. To whom did we pay this check out to?
Holly Bros.
Hallie Rose. Okay. And for what reason? You can say down
Yeah.
on brewer and grinder. Okay. So there, we have pretty much every single piece of information that we need. So here we wrote check number 1506. All right. So how do I journalize this transaction? In this case, I already did. Now, I meant, what do I do for the description? We know we involved ourselves with Hallie Bros. What was our proof of transaction?
Versus the purchase order.
Excellent, right? We have proof through the purchase order itself, right? Because the purchase order lists out everything that we have, and now we already figured out what the down payment's going to be, right? So 170303, okay? And you want to put in third down payment. Or third, that's fine. Third, 1/3 down pay, and and we wrote check number 1506. Okay, so we are done with this, with the journal. So what happens next? Now we got to
Ledger.
we got to plug it into my ledger. In this case, I'm already here on deposits. I just go up, and here you go. I am on my prepaid accounts. So let's go ahead and plug in that information. All right, so we made 1/3 down pay on brewer and grinder. And in this case, I'm going to go ahead and also insert my purchase order number in here, just so then I know. Okay. We are now,
KG2.
we're now on, yes, we are now on our general journal page 2 this time. It's very, very crucial you do not mess this up. Now, yes, many times you will get that, it's going to be sometimes hard to pay attention to just because you're so used to doing one page, and then when you go onto the new page and then you still keep using that same page. Yes, but then for any reason that you find a mistake in your journal and you use this reference points, everything's going to be messed up because you're journalizing and plugging it into your ledger in the wrong spot. So it's very, these spreadsheets that you guys are working on, I'm not going to look over them. They are for your practice purposes only. So utilize the way it is. It doesn't have to match mine 100%. It's what you want to put in there, right? Because these books are for you. They're not for me. But if I were to look at your books and you have nothing filled out in here, I mean, my only guess is I have no idea what you did, right? I only see your journals. I have no idea what these transactions mean. So that's also one thing you have to keep in mind too, is not only are you keeping a good track record for yourself, what if you're the bookkeeper and you have to submit your spreadsheets to your accountant because they want to double check to make sure that you did everything correctly? And they look at your books and nothing, there's no description, nothing filled in. So they're just saying, oh, okay, so you made a prepaid account to Haley Bros. Why? Right? And that's what I mean. Being more descriptive is up to you. And like I said, you can put one-liner description, you can write a whole paragraph. It's up to your discretion, but I would actually recommend you not to refrain, not to refrain, but I recommend you to refrain yourself from putting too much details, like writing out a paragraph on your journal, because if that transaction can be translated over to your ledger, I'd rather you fill your ledger out with all the information that is in detail, right? Versus your journal. Okay, the journal is only to give you a small reference point for why you put those numbers in those accounts, right? And the most important things are what are prove your transactions, right? Where your ledger could be the place for you to spill out all the details and information on there. So in this case, right, back to this, we just increased it by 1140.22. Okay, so there you go. I accidentally pressed enter, and now I'm at $7,794.38 worth of prepaid accounts. Okay, so that includes my rent and insurance. All right. Now, of course, this prepaid right here, eventually it will go away because this will be applied to my bill to my bill, right? So in this case, right, this is just a temporary placeholder just to ensure that you are going to be applying your down payment, okay? So that's just a little heads up there, fair warning. Okay. So now that I did my prepaid accounts, I got to go all the way back up to my checking account, and I am going to plug in my check number that I wrote. 1506. Okay. And we are on General Journal 2. All right. And we just spent $11.40.22. So, therefore, how much money should I have in my checking account now?
$10,331.07.
10. Say that again?
No, I know why. No, you have it right.
Okay, I was like, wait, I don't see 31 cents or anything like that you just said. So 10,221.07.
Yes.
Okay. All right, because it was for $11.40.22, right? We verified that? Yes. Okay. So now that my journal and my ledgers are done, this is where this purchase order has to apply on my vendor. Why? I made a payment to them. I said I'm going to give you a down payment. So this is one of those purchase orders that must appear on your subsidiary ledger because you paid them. My furniture store, I didn't pay them, and if they don't want to give me my stuff, then I can go cancel my order and pay and go to some other person, right? So in this case, I don't even care about furniture store because they didn't do anything for me. That's an example of why I didn't do my purchase order in furniture store. But for this one, Haley Bros, I committed to them by giving them a down payment. So that means I should be receiving something from them. I just paid $1,000 to them, right? Out of the $3,000 bill that they quoted me for, right? I should be expected to receive something from them. So that is something that you have to keep in mind. Here is that I made a payment to them. All right. So let's see. Hallie Bros is H. Here's furniture store. There you go, Hallie Bros. Right. And in this case, we're gonna right here, same thing, down 1/3 down pay on brewer and grinder. What was our proof of the what's the proof that we paid? Check number 1506. Okay. What was the invoice number here? Well, we said that we used the purchase order to tell us that this is how much we owe, so this is how much I am going to pay my down payment, right? This is what's going to determine for me. Post reference, we are finally on General Journal page 2. No terms yet because in this case, I didn't receive a bill yet. I only did this right here, which is make a payment to the purchase order, right? My down payment for the purchase order. Okay, so no terms at all. Now, here is where is going to be the question. Where do I put my numbers? Well, in this case, right, we're
Prepaid amount.
thinking, go ahead, what did you say?
Prepaid amount, right?
Well,
Because we do them first.
let's test your theory. Okay, let's test your theory because in this case, I'm going to show you something different. You said prepaid accounts or prepaid amounts. You're gonna put 11.40 and 22 cents, right? Now, if you ran your formula one more time, right? Well, of the accounts payable to be your invoice amount minus your prepaid minus your returns minus your discounts minus your payments,
It
right?
would be a negative amount.
Well, do they owe me money?
No.
Okay, but watch this too. But wait, we made a payment, did we not? So if I were
Yeah.
to make a payment for that 11.40 and 22 cents, do they owe me $2,000?
No.
No. So in this case, you can't put it in the prepaid amounts, okay?
So then explain again what prepaid amount is then. Because you keep defining it as we talked to them earlier, we had to give them money to begin with. Isn't that what a down payment is?
Correct. Now, when do you normally see a down payment being where do you actually see the down payment? If you gave someone money, right? How do you know they received your down payment and how do you know it's been how do you know that they took your down payment and they put it on the bill? How do you know?
Well, it shows up when the bill comes.
Exactly. Did we receive the bill yet?
No.
So that's why then when the next time we receive the bill, then we will apply our our down payment to the full amount that they quoted us for, and that should give me my total amount that I owe. So in this case, I can't do it now. I can only recognize it as soon as I receive the bill. If they, applied it on the bill, right? Because some vendors make mistakes, but that's okay. As long as we can verify that that down payment went through, because it should be listed on that bill. Okay? But in this case, we haven't even received the bill yet, so we can't use that column yet. So, but in this case, I still made a payment. It still says that they owe me 11.40 and 22 cents. Is that true?
Well, they owe you that in product, yes.
In product, yes, but in this case, this shows me that they owe me money right now. So in this case,
they would if they didn't send the product.
yes, you could see it that way as well. But in this case, to make sure that formula works in your benefit, right? Because let's say if I were to let's say if I copy this down, right? Right now it says they owe me money. Now if I were to go ahead and apply my prepaid and let's say what was it, $3,515.95. If I were to do that, what does it tell me now? Is that true that I only owe $1,235?
Hey, you've got me really confused.
Okay, so in this case, well, we have proof that so maybe it will make more sense when we receive the bill, okay? In this case, I still did make a payment. Now, my proof of a transaction will be my purchase order, right? So if they said the down payment on my purchase order is 1/3 of the price, right? So that means what does my purchase order tell me how much I owe? The purchase order is going to tell me that my invoice amount is going to be for the 11.40 and 22 cents. And because I made a payment, now I owe nothing to Hallie Rose, which is true, right? We're looking at what I owe Hallie Rose. I don't owe Hallie Rose anything, right? And they owe me, right? Because I made a down payment to them. They owe me that they promised they're going to ship out the items to me, right? Just like my other vendor, right? Or my landlord, right? I paid them 3 months in advance, right? So on my end, I don't owe them anything. On their end, they owe me 3 months of rent, right? So in this case, we are looking at our books, not their books. We don't care what they owe me because that's their own business. They need to keep track of their own business, their own transactions. For us, all I can recognize is what I have done. I made a purchase order. They required me to pay a third down payment, so I paid. Okay? I don't care what they owe me or what they do for me. I did my part. Okay? That's what I need to recognize under my books because these are my books, nobody else's books. Okay? So if and when I do receive the bill, it's going to tell me the amount that I owe. It's going to tell me that my down payment has been applied, and it's going to tell me how much the bill was in general. Okay? So that's a huge important thing here. Now, for now, if this doesn't make any sense, just go ahead and continue following along with me, and then eventually will make sense, okay? So for now, this is what I'm going to do. My purchase order has already identified me that I owe 1/3 of what I was quoted for, right? For the down payment. So that means my invoice for that purchase order told me that I owed $1140.22, and I made a payment for $11.40. Okay? So at least I don't owe them anything. Okay? And then we'll see what happens when we actually receive the bill. Right? And then once I receive the bill, I'll tell you what you can and you can't, what you can do with the ledger, because again, not everybody's going to do the ledger the same exact way as me. That's fine, but this is me teaching you how to use the ledger the way I am using it. So then when you do go off into the future, maybe it might be a little more easier for you to just do this and this instead of that, right? But then again, this is manual bookkeeping, right? We got systems like QuickBooks to be able to do all this for us. We don't even need to verify any of these, okay? So there you go. That is what I currently owe Haley Bros is nothing. Okay. All right, so I wrote my check, I did my journal, I did my ledger, and I completed my subsidiary ledger. Okay, so again, I'm going to stop here for the break, and when we come back, we will continue we'll continue with Coffee Cafe when we come back.